Hey guys, how's it going? It's Blepnir here with another team review, and today we're going to be looking over a team consisting of Shadow Drapion in the lead, Shadow Nidoqueen as the safe swap, and Shadow VICTREEBEL in the back in the Open Ultra League. So this is one of my first times using Shadow VICTREEBEL in the Ultra League. I use Shadow VICTREEBEL a lot in the Great League. It's a very fun Pokemon to use in the Great League. I'm sure that you all know about the grass hole teams, but you can use Shadow VICTREEBEL in all sorts of ways. This is a very unique way to use it. This is a triple poison team, and it's also ABA weak to ground. We did not see whole lot of ground. We did see quite a few Greninja. We went 10-0 with this team, so incredibly good team. I'm gonna show you guys my favorite battles here using this Pokemon with Greninja in the picture. The VICTREEBEL does so well. Honestly, I think that this meta is very weak to grass, both in the Great League and in the Ultra League. At the moment, I would highly recommend this team. So let's see how we do with it. By the way, this team was created by my good friend Gyarados in a Hose, who rated my channel and recommended that I use it. And I was like, I have all these Pokemon. I definitely want to try out this team, and it worked really well. So let's see how this team does. So we have Drapion into Ampharos. This is a pretty good lead for us. The thing is that we have two things in the back that are very good against Ampharos. So we are probably going to go into Nidoqueen, which is our soft answer. Nidoqueen double resists the electric type moves and takes neutral from the brutal swing, but it's much bulkier. The reason why we go into Nidoqueen instead of the Shadow VICTREEBEL is that Nidoqueen is able to take these brutal swings, and then they come into Greninja, and Greninja actually is not going to have a good time versus these poison fangs and poison jabs. You see there that they actually had to shield. That's how glassy Greninja is, that they have to shield. They go for the Night Slash, and they actually don't take us out, so we get a little more damage there. But it's not great for us because they actually are going to make it to a Night Slash quite easily here because they got that extra Water Shrieking worth of energy. And we're going to let them throw the Night Slash. You're going to see here it does a little bit less than 50% of our health. And so this is why Shadow VICTREEBEL shines so much in the Ultra League. It actually has bulk to it in the Ultra League, unlike in the Great League. It's kind of amazing because in the Great League, the Night Slash would do like pretty much all of the VICTREEBEL's health. And the Ultra League, it barely does like 40%. So that's one of the reasons why I love using the Shadow VICTREEBEL so much. You see here that the Shadow VICTREEBEL did a ton of damage to the very bulky Cresselia. Cresselia is the bulkiest Pokemon you're going to see in the Ultra League regularly. And yet it took like a crazy amount, like 35% damage from the very cheap move of Leaf Blade. And so now that would get it into the range where it can be taken out by a Crunch, right? Obviously, a Crunch is going to take them out, and we're just going to outpace them to the Crunch here. So this was my first battle using the Shadow VICTREEBEL team, and a very simple win in the back because the Cresselia is never going to outpace the Drapion. If worse comes to worse, there were conditions where I could have farmed down with Razor Leafs there, but we didn't have to. So let's see what we've got next. We have Nacho Malik BK here. We got Drapion into Dragonite, Shadow Drapion into Shadow Dragonite, I should say. And this is not great because of the fact that this Crunch actually does not put the Dragonite into range to be farmed down. The Dragonite would actually get to 2 Dragon Claws here if I tried to farm them down from here. It's a kind of unfortunate range. That's one of the reasons why you might want to go for the Sludge Bomb instead of the Crunch to potentially flip switch. But what we're going to do here, instead of doing that, is we're going to actually go into our Nidoqueen. We're met with a Tapu Fini, and I saw a lot of Tapu Finis, honestly, today in the Ultra League. And this team does so well versus Tapu Fini. It just triple counters it. You're going to see this is a unique Ultra League Nidoqueen. Its IVs are 15, 15, 14, which means that it has pretty much the highest attack weight you can expect from an Ultra League Nidoqueen. You don't see Nidoqueen running around with any more attack weight than that. So because of that, I actually get farmed down quite low by the Tapu Fini. And that means that this Cobalion gets very little farm and I get to the Earth power. So it's kind of interesting. This Nidoqueen being very attack weighted worked out in its favor. The Cobalion doesn't get nearly as much farm as it might, and it also has to take a move. They have no shields here, so we are in a great spot. We make a huge mistake. We go into the Cobalion, the Drapion, because we're so confident that we can get off that crunch versus Cobalion. We get farmed down. So all of a sudden, we were in a kind of a bad spot. But no matter what happened, we were going to farm down everything there. The Victreebel can take a Stone Edge. The Stone Edge does like 75% to the Victreebel. So once again, Victreebel is a completely different beast in the Ultra League than it is in the Great League. People assume that's going to be super glassy in the Ultra League, but no, it hits like a truck, but it's also very tanky. So once again, we've got the Ampharos here. This time the Ampharos is a safe swap. So we're just going to take out the Ampharos, and they're going to come back in with their Giratina, or sorry, they're going to come in with Tapu Fini. Yeah, so they have the Tapu Fini in the lead, and we are just going to spam out these Poison Fangs. I think that I don't get to the second Poison Fang. This is where having a Super XL Nidoqueen would come in handy. I think that a really XL Shadow Nidoqueen would have reached a Poison Fang there. Definitely a regular Nidoqueen would. Like, if you had a regular Nidoqueen that was Super XL, it would have flipped switch there versus the Tapu Fini. But as it stands, we're not in a bad spot. They actually don't have an answer to Drapion, and they're down a shield. So because of this, they are doomed, because we will always be able to Razor Leaf down in the back. You see here, I go for the Crunch. You might be thinking, Blepnir, why didn't you go for the Sludge Bomb? I didn't need to, because of the fact that I have that Razor Leaf damage in the back. It's going to be resisted, yeah, but they're not going to be able to take any more Razor Leafs here. You see here, look how much those Razor Leafs are doing. They can't take any Razor Leafs on this thing, and the Tapu Fini is as good as dead, because I'm going to Razor Leaf it down. As soon as I Razor Leaf this thing down, this is a good game. I saved 2 shields for my Victreebel, and sure enough, it worked out. So next up we have Drapion into Swampert. This is a bad lead, obviously, but we have to stay in because of the fact that they clearly have a counter to Grass. If they lead with a Swampert, then you know that they're going to have a counter to Grass in the back. And so we don't want to get rid of our Nidoqueen, which can potentially counter their counter to Grass. We want to stay in here. We're going to sacrifice this thing. They got the defense debuff, which means that we might be able to snipe the Swampert, but they come immediately into a Fairy type. This is interesting because this is not a counter to Grass at all. In fact, I could have stayed in with the Victreebel versus the Fairy type. I switched into my Nidoqueen just because Nidoqueen has such a better matchup here than the Victreebel does. I could have undercharged there and farmed more, but the good thing here is that the Swampert is in perfect farm down range for me to shield once and farm down completely. And thank God I was able to do this, because you're going to see what's in the back. They really wanted to get to that Hydro Cannon. They're worried, and sure enough, they have a Swampert in the back. So this is a really, really fun situation for me, where I'm actually going to be able to Razor Leaf down a Swampert. This is not something that you're going to see very often. They are double debuffed. They are super glassy, being a shadow, not a shadow. They're actually a regular Charizard, but still, this is really impressive, right? It's not even shadow, and we're doing this much damage to them. We are going to take this Dragon Claw once again. Shadow Victreebel, look at this. Oh, it's a Blast Burn. Okay, I was going to say that the Shadow Victreebel would live that, but it doesn't matter, because we are just going to do so much damage with these Poison Jabs. Once again, this is why the Shadow Nidoqueen is so amazing, is because of that Poison Jab fast move pressure in addition to those Poison Fangs. And so here, we encounter a Registeel in the lead. That's obviously terrible for our Drapion, and we just immediately go into the Nidoqueen. And they have a Cresselia. This is not a good swap into Nidoqueen. We have 2 things we can do. We can either bait with the Poison Fang and hope to get a shield, or we can full send the Earth Power. You're going to see that we're actually going to full send the Earth Power, and they're going to shield. So this is not great for me. This means that we could have potentially flip switch if we threw the Poison Fang. But, I mean, you guys already know, we haven't lost a single one of these games. So we're just going to let this go, and we're going to come in with the Drapion. We're still going to win with a shield advantage here. The Registeel is going to be able to force 2 shields from my Victreebel. So even though we're a shield up, the Registeel is not a great matchup for Victreebel. The Victreebel can defeat it, but we are going to be in a tough spot. We farm up as much as possible and throw the Crunch. So we have a Crunch loaded. And then we throw the Crunch on the Registeel. This is going to do neutral damage, so there's no reason not to throw it. We might get the defense debuff. And one thing that we could have done is we could have just tried to throw another Crunch and get the defense debuff, which would have made things much easier for the Victreebel. The Victreebel has a lot of work here. We take that Zap Cannon like a champ. Unfortunately, we would not take another Zap Cannon, so that's where the my Shadow Victreebel kind of falls short. I guess that I think that a fully XL Shadow Victreebel also dies to 2 Zap Cannons, but I think that a regular Victreebel probably could have a better matchup versus Registeel here, being able to tank 2 Zap Cannons. But it's okay. I mean, I'm just going to throw this Razor Leaf. The Razor Leaf actually takes him out, so that's where having Razor Leaf is so good there. That Razor Leaf did so much damage. Despite being resisted, despite being double debuffed, we were actually able to take out one of the most bulky Pokemon in the Ultra League. And you see here that I baited the first move here. I actually crunched the first time, and then I throw the Sludge Bomb, and we're able to take that victory. So that was a risky bait, but it ended up paying off. And now this next matchup, this is completely ridiculous. We see a Unova Stunfisk. This is very lucky for me. I mean, I don't know why people would be running Unova Stunfisk in this meta, but we'll take it. You know, this is such a good matchup. Just showing off how this Victreebel can easily tank 2 Mud Bombs and have enough stored that we get to this Acid Spray. I throw the Acid Spray here, thinking that I might be able to reach a Crunch before they can switch out, but you're going to see that that's a mistake, because I do not reach the Crunch before they reach their Dragon Claw, and after this Dragon Claw, they will be able to switch out, so it doesn't really matter. I could have thrown either move, but I go into my Nidoqueen, they go into Cobalion, and then they actually quit out the game, so I cut that off, but they quit out of the game there. I think that they still had play, but I guess that I just would have outpaced them in damage. So that's a good game. They could have caught. They could have caught onto their Giratina Altered, but it's fine. You know, that's a lesson to you guys, is that don't quit out there, because they had a lot of play. If I threw straight Earth Power and they caught one of the Earth Powers, the third Earth Power onto the Giratina Altered, I would have lost that. But moving on to this next matchup, you see that I was throwing straight Sludge Bombs. They did shield up one of the Sludge Bombs, which is fine. They were slow on the swap, which means that we get to this Earth Power, and I think that we get to so they throw a Surf, and then we get to a Poison Jab, at least a Poison Fang. So they have to throw another Surf. I don't think we wanted to go straight Poison Fang. It wouldn't have done enough. So we just take the Surf. We take the shield advantage once again. And now we go into Victreebel because we know that we can farm them down before they get to another Surf even. And then they have Galvantula in the back. And this is a very neutral matchup with the Shadow Victreebel. The one weakness that we have is that they're going to be debuffing us with these lunges, obviously. And luckily, you see here, we get through the move. Of course we're going to get through the move, right? Because they didn't CMP tie us. But now they have a Scrafty, and this is not enough. They were worried that I was going to get to a Leaf Blade, so they didn't actually farm up enough to throw the Foul Play. And we get to the Leaf Blade anyway. we don't have to worry about a thing because this Leaf Blade is going to kill. This does so much damage. Yeah, I don't know why the Victreebel isn't more popular because of the fact that Leaf Blade does so much neutral damage. It doesn't feel delicate. It doesn't feel squishy at all in the Ultra League, unlike in the Great League. So it's just a damage machine that also feels very balanced. And so here we have the Drapion into Giratina. This is very positive. So this is the 10th battle out of my 10 battle win streak. And they actually switch into Obstagoon. I was never going to throw there. So it's good to get the Sludge Bomb off on Obstagoon. And now, so this is why you get the Sludge Bomb off. This is actually one of the best matchups in the game. Obstagoon that has taken a Sludge Bomb can get fully farmed down by a Nidoqueen, even a very delicate Nidoqueen like mine, which is not even XL at all, can farm this down quite easily. They get to a Night Slash, but they do not get to another Night Slash. And so now we're at almost 100 energy. We're going to spam off these moves on whatever comes in. Yeah, so we're going to throw 2 Earth Powers here. And because we are so attack weighted, these Earth Powers are going to almost kill. The thing is, the good thing about this is that if we got the defense debuff, then we could have actually killed here. So just so you know, we didn't get it this time, but that's one of the good things about being attack weighted is that you can actually force a shield there on the Giratina if we got the defense debuff, whereas a non-attack weighted Nidoqueen would not do so. And now we're going to take the Dragon Claw here. We know we can farm down, but we make a really strange mistake. I thought that I could snipe here for some reason on my Victreebel, but no, I actually just tanked the Dragon Claw. And so this is actually kind of tough because I tanked that Dragon Claw there. I was not gambling on tanking it, but they actually throw the Frenzy Plant. And that is a huge win con for me because we can just throw this Leaf Blade. They were going to get to another Frenzy Plant if I went for the Acid Spray, which is why I did not go for the Acid Spray. I go straight Leaf Blade here, and they're forced to throw. So this is okay. The thing is that they can catch onto the Giratina, so I really have to look out for the catch. They're not quite they're not quite out of the they're still switch locked here. So that's why I threw the Crunch immediately. Obviously, they shield. Obviously, they're going to try to catch. We're in a scary spot. They just do not manage to catch. You know, this was not the time to do it. They had to wait until I was like 1 above double because then I kind of had to throw. If I was 1 above double crunches, that is when I have to throw. Otherwise, they get to a Frenzy Plant, and then they can catch. But instead they threw out their Giratina too early, and then they quit out the app here. And so this was a really fun team to use. I love Shadow Victreebel. The Shadow Victreebel in Ultra League seems so much better, honestly, than in the Great League, and because of the prevalence of the Greninja in the Ultra League right now, I think that it actually has a lot of play. As long as it's not facing something like a Giratina Altered or something else that's super bulky, it has a lot of play in general. You don't want to be safe swapping into it, but if you can find a good safe swap, then it's great in the back. So with that, I want to know, guys, do you guys have an Ultra League Shadow Victreebel? Or a regular Victreebel for that matter. Do you guys want to try it out? Let me know how it goes if so, and I'll see you next time. Bye.